The journey started peacefully, with fresh air and calm surroundings. But something strange began to happen when Mikey disappeared. I felt a mix of anxiety and confusion when I realized I wasn't the only one feeling this way. As time passed, things grew more mysterious, and the air around us became heavier, as if something dark was watching us from the trees. With the fall of Mikey, we started to feel that we were trapped in something bigger than just a prank. Questions piled up in my mind, but I was powerless to answer them. Who is Mikey? Who is the fall? What was that scream we heard? And how could everything be this chaotic? Mikey's scream echoed in my ears, but we couldn't pinpoint where it was coming from. The closer we got to the source of the sound, the colder the air became, as if we were diving deeper into the darkness. The trees seemed to dance, as if they were moving with us, watching every step we took. I felt something touch my hand, but when I looked, there was no one there. We began to wonder if we had stepped into another world, where there was no way out. Everything became foggy, as if we were in a dream, unsure whether it was real or not. We now didn't know if Mikey had truly disappeared, or if there was something else behind it. But one thing was certain: we were trapped here, and no one knew how we would escape. Suddenly, we all stopped moving when we heard a strange noise coming from afar. Was that the sound of footsteps? Or was it something else? I looked around, and I began to feel that we were trapped in a trap with no way out. We had no time to think anymore. We were running, just trying to survive. We didn't know where we were going, but the feeling of danger followed us like a merciless shadow. One of the girls tripped and fell, and when we turned to her, she wasn't alone. The creature stood motionless, but its eyes, they burned with an unforgettable stare. The girl screamed, but the sound vanished into the air, as if the forest swallowed it. Then, just as it appeared, it vanished, leaving behind the echo of silence. We had no choice but to keep moving, each step feeling like a descent into the unknown. We started hearing whispers. Whispers we couldn't locate, but they knew our names. One of us began speaking in a strange voice. It wasn't his voice, and it wasn't really him. We tried to stop him, but he turned to us and said, "You're too late. The weather has already changed." Suddenly, it started to rain, but it wasn't ordinary rain. It was black. The trees began to melt under the black rain, emitting sounds that resembled weeping. We ran looking for shelter, but the forest seemed endless. One of us collapsed, and we couldn't carry him, so we had to leave him behind. His screams faded behind us, and then complete silence. We found an old cabin in the middle of the trees and entered without thinking. Inside the cabin, the walls were covered in strange, terrifying symbols. In the corner stood a tall, dusty mirror. But strangely, it didn't reflect us. I approached it slowly, something inside me whispering not to. But I couldn't stop. When I touched it with my fingertips, I felt a cold, unlike anything I've ever known. When I placed my hand on the mirror's surface, it felt like the ground vanished beneath me. Nothing physically moved, but my head spun like I was falling inward. I pulled back quickly, but the mirror began showing things that weren't behind me, as if it was displaying a completely different scene. Inside the mirror, someone was standing in the corner. I wasn't alone. I slowly walked toward the corner where the figure appeared, but it was completely empty. Nothing was there. I looked back at the mirror, and I wasn't there. He was staring directly at me. I started to feel disconnected from my body. Was I imagining this? Or was I starting to believe the unbelievable? Outside, my friends heard me screaming. They rushed in and found me collapsed in front of the mirror. When I came to, they said I was speaking in a strange voice, like someone else was speaking through me. We carried the mirror outside to smash it, but the way the light refracted inside it made us freeze instantly. We decided to bury it under the roots of a massive tree, far from any home or road. We left the forest in silence, but I still feel like the mirror isn't truly sealed. It's waiting. You might think the story ends here, but there are things we can't see, voices we can't hear, and secrets yet to be revealed. Do you think Mikey ever came back? Or could what happened to him happen to you too? Tell me in the comments, which moment scared you the most? Don't forget to check out the other terrifying stories. They're darker than you imagine. Subscribe and hit the bell icon, because what's coming next is far worse than what you've seen.